Hello, greetings to you at this time. I don't know your time, but my time here is evening in Nigeria. My name is Dr. King James Nkum. I am here I'm one of the speakers for this very wonderful event put together by Dr. Amel Fangnon. I want to appreciate the purposeful Amel Fangon Leadership School for the opportunity to be one of the speakers. And we have a very interesting topic in front of us, talking about art of negotiation in business and institutions. Now, I want to start by saying that by profession, I'm a lawyer, and I understand that most of our work involves litigation, going to court. I'm also a university lecturer, a senior lecturer who is about to be a professor of law. And I've been lecturing I have papers, published locally and internationally. And so I will speak with some level of authority and expertise. And so, but I'll try as much as possible not to be too technical in my discussion because when you talk about negotiation, you are talking about an aspect of legal process that is not necessarily in a technical sense or is not really litigation, but it is something that is like an out of court form of settlement or what we call alternative dispute resolution. You can actually use negotiation. We have about four strategies or four approaches to alternative dispute resolution. You can resolve dispute without going to court. That's what I'm trying to say. That is not it's not every discussion, it's not every dispute that must lead to court. And of course, we understand that the court process is expensive. It is time wasting. It is also it can create enmity. The typical African society. If I sue you to court, which is a civil way of engaging or getting remedy to either injustice or misunderstanding, uh, if I sue my brother, for instance, maybe over land that it's supposed to be shared between me and my brother, and then maybe he decides to take over the land without giving me my part of the inheritance, instead of fighting, instead of engaging in all forms of, you know, uncivilized, resorting to uncivilized means of getting justice, the ideal thing to do is simply to go to court because that's what it provides for you know. So basically, it's all about uh, getting remedy or compensation or getting justice where you feel you've been injustice is done. So, like I'm saying, negotiation is one of the ADR or alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. One of them, for instance, we have mediation. Mediation is where, of course, I'm talking based on the topic, the arts of negotiation in business and institutions, But I would want to just narrow down to uh, win-win strategy in negotiation. But as a way of introduction, I'm trying to like lay a background to how we came about negotiation in the first place. And I'm saying that negotiation is one of the mechanisms of alternative dispute resolution. So it can be deployed or employed, as a resort to finding solution, whether legal solution, social, economic, political, religious. You can always use negotiation to arrive at uh, a, let me say, a workable solution. So, of course, like I said, apart from negotiation, you also have mediation. Mediation is where someone comes in as an intermediary to mediate between the two parties or the parties involved. The person only acts as a guide to mediate. Like when you have conflict, you have wars, you have, let's say, conflict between two countries or between two people, or maybe when you have all these, like two countries, like for instance, Russia and Ukraine are fighting. Any of the government, let's say China could decide to come to say you want to mediate between the two parties, just acting as a go-between to bring the parties together for them to agree. You are not like the court that would decide anything. No, you're only just to facilitate. You're more of a facilitator. That's mediation. Then you also have another mechanism, which is basically conciliation. Conciliation is more like a remedial strategy or mechanism where there is a wrong or an injury or people have suffered some kind of injustice. Conciliation comes to like bring them together to to restitute. You can use conciliation to achieve alternative dispute resolution. You know, to settle disputes. Then another one also, of course, is what we call arbitration. Arbitration is a little bit more technical than all the rest, and even that negotiation. Arbitration requires some kind of a go-between also, but it is usually such that it can be ordered by the court. So when two parties, let's say they are in court and then they are not able to, they can try to ask the court for permission to go and settle out of court. But when they do that, they have to report to the court, and whatever decision they have arrived at will be recorded by the court as judgment of the court. That one is called consent judgment. The judgment was not passed by the judge, but it was simply the decision of the two parties. Now it's just that the court adopts it as its own judgment and sanctions it, and that becomes binding on all parties. Nobody can, back up from it to say he was not part of the deal. So with that, I think it's very important to go into the last one, which is basically why we're here: negotiation. Negotiation is simply a mechanism for trying to, arrive at a workable, practicable remedy or kind of agreement between parties in dispute. The parties have to be able to negotiate. That is to, you see, in life, it's all about negotiation. When you're driving and you want to take a bend, you have to negotiate that bend. How do you negotiate? You have to look right and left. You have to enter the bend in such a way that you don't hit your car on the, let's say, the fence that is just in between it's in between, or that is by the road, or maybe we negotiate for everything. Sometimes you want something, and then the other person is like, if you want this, then you have to give me this. It's just like bargaining. So life is all about negotiating. It's all about bargaining, and so we have to be able to apply. So just like the topic says, arts of negotiation in business and institution. It is an art. It's something that can be learned. It is something that is technical. It is an art. Of course, it's also a science because there are methods of achieving negotiation. And so, like I said, I want to narrow my conversation to negotiation, but basically as it has to do with just the aspect of win-win strategy in negotiation. Win-win strategy in negotiation, I will look at the benefit and challenges, as part of the negotiation discussion. And so win-win strategy allows multiple parties, to find mutually beneficial solutions that is mutually beneficial to both of them. From the word win-win, it means that it is different from what we have for like in politics or in football, where it's what we call, winner takes it all. In politics, unless you want to form a unitary government, any party that wins election takes it all. They decide who become, for instance, at the federal level, they decide who becomes. In fact, if the party has majority, and most likely they usually will, if the ruling party has majority or the winning party has majority in the Senate, in the National Assembly, then they will decide to an extent everything that happens in that country. So the winning party will decide, will be the one to appoint ministers, they will be the one to appoint judges. So it's like everything revolves around that party. So they have won, and so they take everything, But when you have unitary government, they can decide to, have, say, figures from different parties coming together to form a government that is more solidified. That is a negotiated system, unlike the normal system of one man takes it all or the winner takes it all. And I think the world would be better if if in politics, for example, especially in Africa, we don't so much, practice this winner takes it all attitude. We may do politics, if you win, then you should be able to call, for instance, in Nigeria, we have an elections. This is not a political conversation, but we're talking about institutions. we're talking about business. So my conversation will touch on business and institution. Institution could include institutional framework, it could include institutional practice, and democracy or politics, which I'm discussing, is part of the institutional practice. You have situation. We had situation in Nigeria where all the major ethnic groups, were participating in the elections. As they had candidates who ran in as presidential candidates, and of course, at the end of the day, one of the major tribal group won, and then there are issues on ground. Now, someone could call for government of national unity, to bring all the brains together. For anybody to go through primaries and win and still go for the general election as a presidential candidate should be a very good material. You can work with these people. You may not make them the vice president or whatever it is, but they can be appointed sensitive position that they can help the government achieve. And in that way, nobody has lose. Because at the end of the day, it's about the national development, the progress for the country, not about anybody or any winner. With that, let me just say that the win-win situation in negotiation has to do with mutual benefit, mutual, so you share the benefits across while conducting negotiation. So there's this approach can help to avoid conflict between parties. It actually can help, to avoid conflict between negotiators, and it provides a wide range of benefits to all the parties involved, as we are going to see very soon. Very important. All the parties can be part of it. If your job includes frequent negotiating with external parties, then you need to understand the win-win strategy, because it will help to learn more about win-win strategies and their benefit. Now, there are some things I'm going to talk about, just a few of them. I will talk about some of the advantage or benefits of win-win strategy in negotiation. One of them is that we have win-win versus zero-sum negotiation. Now, in a win-win situation, all the parties, like I said, benefit from the final agreement. All the parties will benefit from the final agreement or contract that has been signed. So you are not saying this person is taking 90%, this person is taking 10%. We are saying that even if we don't take 50-50, substantially, we are taking, everybody benefits in such a way that at the end of the day, nobody will feel cheated. It could be 60 or 40, for instance. It could be whatever it is, but all the parties should live satisfied as against when one person takes it all. Because in the zero-sum situation, which is win-lose situation, one party benefits from a final agreement, the one party becomes the sole owner and gains while the other one loses and is cancelled out. It results in no net benefit, for the group of collaborations or collaborators. A negotiator who uses zero-sum approach or tactics seeks to gain an advantage for their clients, without providing value for the other negotiating parties. You have to provide value for the owner. If the other party also has to see the value you're offering them before they can also, bend. If everyone should stand on their ground and say, I will not shift, then at the end of the day, we cannot achieve negotiation. And even if you get it, it will not be win-win situation. It will be win-lose situation, which is zero-sum. But so my advocacy or my focus today is on win-win strategies. So everything I say will be about that. Of course, there are benefits of a win-win strategy. One of them is positive working relationship. There are several benefits. One of them is positive working relationship. Like I said, win-win strategy encourages the development, of a healthy working, relationship between all the parties to the agreement or in a negotiation. It encourages that kind of trust. It engenders trust. If you are interested in me winning in a dispute or in a conflict or in a situation that you are interested in not just taking everything, it shows you are not greedy. It shows that you are also concerned about my own welfare, my well-being, and from your negotiation, I can tell that you are a good partner to deal with. And so, if only you are not just interested in taking everything to yourself, then it will encourage this, healthy working relationship. I would like to deal with you in future. All parties in the women's negotiation feel as though they can work towards a common benefit. At the end of the day, everyone is not just concerned about themselves, but about the others. So this common goal allow each member of a win-win situation or in a negotiation to collaborate and may consider collaborating with the opposite party in future negotiation. That is important because whatever we do, we have to look at the future. Do you just want to win now and say you are the winner and then you go and that's all? Or do you also want to have a situation where this relationship can continue even after this first instance? That is, that lasting, and what you have now may not be as important as, or may not be as significant as what may come tomorrow. So it's always good. It's part of investments, business investment, what we call social capital. You can raise social capital through negotiation. Tomorrow, it will help. Future benefit opportunities, like I said, is one of them. Then focus on mutual interests. One of the benefits is that it helps to focus on mutual interests. So win-win tactics allow you to focus on mutual interests and benefits rather than position and power. The word here, the key word here is mutual interest and benefit, not position and power. Power is where you want to lord it over, you want to take it over, you want to take over everything, and then you are looking at for position. You're just interested in the position, where you want to dominate, the conversation, dominate the benefits, take over all the interest. But that is not the goal of win-win strategy. So win-win strategy attempts to meet the needs and goals of all the parties, allowing everyone to gain something, no matter how it is from the negotiation, allowing everyone to gain something, and then it focuses on mutual benefit may also make parties more likely to be willing to engage in the negotiation process. So if you know that this negotiation is likely to bring something out, you are likely to benefit, you'll be more willing to continue. You've seen negotiations or discussions that have gone, either have broken down or have not even gone anywhere. Some are even dead on arrival because no party is ready, nobody is willing to shift ground. Everyone is holding on to their position. Everyone is trying to prove something. Everyone is trying to. Nobody is it's all about compromise. Your ability to move a step away from what you are expecting, and the other person to also move away, and that way you are able to create a platform where the interest will meet. So mutual interest is very important. Then discovery of new options. Now, win-win strategies encourage the exploration of an array of beneficial options before reacting to final decisions. So the parties are able to see different options. Probably maybe you were blind to your own, just your own interest, and you didn't see the other options which the other parties bringing. For instance, we have a deal, and that deal has to do with supply of materials, and then a particular product was supposed to be supplied, and then maybe you had you also supplied some products to me, and then something came up, maybe act of God or something, and everything was lost, and I'm now trying to sue you to return my money, and you are saying based on even the insurance law, it says anything that has to do with act of God, it's not insurable, and so you cannot compensate me for the loss. I'm not, so I'm trying to sue you, and you're saying, okay, let's negotiate. Now, in negotiation, we may have to share the losses, but what are the options? What are also the benefits? So in a win-win situation, you are able to discover other options that probably you did not consider. The person might make other offers, different from, which may not be exactly what you wanted. But because, like I said, there's an act of God, there's an intervention. Let's say either there was a storm and the ship capsized, or there was some kind of, turbulence, or whatever it is that it was beyond human control. In that way, some kind of negotiation has to come in. You may not lose everything, but you may not get everything you expected. But at least you can negotiate it. Now, I will just, before I round up, I'll talk about a few challenges of implementing these win-win strategies. It's not as easy as it sounds. One of them is managing expectation. Managing expectation throughout the negotiation can help to create a win-win situation which results in all parties feeling as though they have benefited something. So it's not easy to manage the expectation because everyone came with high expectation. Now trying to say let you came with a mindset of taking everything. I came with a mindset of taking everything. Right? So it's not easy to manage the expectations, the high expectations. Because like I said, someone has to come down, everyone has to scale down their preferences, their expectations. Of course, outcome perception. All parties in negotiation focus on their benefits. So as well as the benefit gained by the other parties, parties are usually willing to make concessions. So as long as all the parties make sacrifices in return, it's very important to create a win-win situation. It's important to speak modestly about your own benefits and compliment the other party on other works to maintain a positive environment for everyone involved. Now, respect is one of them. Respect employed by each party throughout the negotiating experience can help to create a win-win situation. We must all respect each other's opinion, and so that this is a challenge. It can be a challenge, but you see, when you have this at the back of your mind, it makes it easier. So it's important. Then lastly, before I end, presentation of multiple offers is a challenge. Presenting multiple offers that you believe are equally valuable is an effective win-win strategy. So it's up to the parties to look out for other options and bring them and present them to the table. Allowing your counterpart to choose from multiple offers can provide important clues about what they value, most. The information is helpful during future negotiations. So this strategy also helps you to emphasize your ability to accommodate, remain flexible, and fulfill the desires of the other negotiating party. So I'll inclusion of a matching rights. I'll leave this contingent agreement, breach of contract penalties. These are some of the challenges. There's also issue of post-contract settlement. Then outside assistance may also be needed. Because it may get to a situation where the discussion might be tensed, or the parties might become emotional, and so somehow it's not easy to implement. They will need an outside assistance to come in. So I'm rounding up, and on the last note, I want to say whether at business level, at institutional level, at government, intergovernmental level, or interagency level, or even at international level, at interpersonal level, we have to always look out for the best option in achieving our aim without fighting, without conflict. I want to say that a lot of conflict, wars, and crises in the world will have been averted if parties will explore the option of settlement, which is basically through negotiations. Thank you very much. Have a great time. All right. Thank you. I thank the organizers for this opportunity once again. And my name is Dr. King James Kum. Bye bye. Thank you.